we go deeper, I think in regards to pay, it's not really equal.
Especially in the VA industry, girls are getting paid more than boys.
Excuse me?
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Dwayne, and I would like to welcome all of you space travelers aboard the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network's Cosmic Couch.
Get ready to zoom through the VA universe as we tackle the juiciest and most controversial topics in the industry.
So, who's up for a cosmic adventure with us? Buckle up and let's sort the stars on the Cosmic Couch. Today, we're diving into a crucial discussion about the challenges faced by virtual assistants. The topics are cultural barriers, data security, and fair wages.
Get ready for some hot takes, controversial debates, and thought provoking conversations as we unravel the complexities of this issue. From navigating cultural differences to ensuring data security, and of course, advocating for fair compensation. We're covering it all, so sit back, relax, and let's break down the barriers together.
So it seems that we have quite some serious topics and controversial ones as well. But let's start a bit chill because I don't want to be a bit so aggressive during the start of this podcast episode. So once again, let's try to get know us more, the podcast host. Well, I got one fun question for everyone to answer, and the question is, I guess I'll first ask Julia. Julia, how long? Okay, I guess it's a general question at first for the both of you. Julia and Sweet, how long have you been doing podcasts in general?
In general, not really podcasting, but like hosting and all of that. So maybe around like 4 years, 5 years, and stuff like that. But into this kind of podcasting, I just started last year. This whole setup and everything. Just new with this. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Thanks for
Okay,
asking.
and how about you,
Love
Sweet?
it,
You're quite
love it.
experienced, huh?
Yeah, I actually started my first official show. It's actually in Spotify. Well, shameless promotion. It's I started it in 2021, and then that's my first show, and then I had my second show in 2022, and then my third show in 2023. Wow, every year I just realized I'm launching a new show and every year, and yeah, this is my first official show with a different or with a company because I used to be being just myself. So yeah, so excited.
Well, me personally, I guess I'm the least experienced amongst you all. I mean, Spotify and being on shows. Well, me, I'm a bit of under the table. Okay, that sounds really wrong. Not under the table, but I guess I'm just not someone who's like showing myself to everyone when I was doing my podcast whatsoever, because I'm more involved in the investment side of things and doing podcasts. And pretty much this is my first actual podcast where I'm showing my face, my personality, everything, sharing stuff. So yeah, I guess I'm a bit new to this kind of thing, but in general, as hosting, not really that new. Well, the reason I asked you that is, during your entire experience of podcasts or whatsoever that's related to that, I'm curious, do you have any funny, embarrassing moments that you have? I mean, could be from Sphere Rocket or outside. So yeah, maybe you can share some stories. Let's start off with Julia. Maybe you have any fun stories you want to tell with us in your experience?
Yes, indeed. I'm not going to disclose when, where, and how all of the details, but I'm just gonna say that a guest of mine, it's not actually about me, but it was actually about my guest. A guest of mine farted in the middle of the interview, and
Oh
I
my
was
god.
I felt so awkward. I didn't know how to react. Should I act like I heard it? Should I act like I knew about it? But then she eventually, character broke off because she kind of cursed a little bit, and then she said she wanted to do the interview over again. But like, yes, I'm not disclosing who this was. But yeah, I just really enjoyed that moment because that time I felt really authentic and everything was just transparent and just totally everything was there, it was out there. It was so fun. And yeah, we just had a really good laugh about it. So yeah, that's my experience.
If that person is watching or listening to this now,
Uh-oh.
well, feel free to the comment section if you're brave enough. I would have said that, okay? If that happened during my podcast, I'm gonna be like, okay, who dropped a bomb? I just like someone has
I will
a tire
definitely break
exploded.
character.
Right?
I cannot.
But it's hard to beat that. I don't think you're lucky that it's not live. It's recorded. Otherwise,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
it would have been a
I
lot
didn't
more fun.
disclose if it's recorded or it's live though.
Oh, we shall see. We shall.
You shall see. Maybe you can still see it in one of the videos. So you should watch all
Oh
of
my god.
Julia's
No.
videos, and maybe you'll be able to find that recording. I think it's in Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants in the Facebook or in the YouTube page of Sphere Rocket. So
You're totally disclosing this, bro.
You're.
we'll see.
Oh my god.
It's free.
Anyway,
shameless
let's
promotion, so you
move
can
on.
watch.
Anyway.
Yeah, sweet.
And pretend that it didn't happen. Okay.
Sweet. It's your
All
turn.
right. Okay. Let me share mine. So for me, okay, this is a recorded one, and I will not disclose which episode or which show this is. But in that show, there is a commercial break in between the recording, and I was so what usually happens is we go through the conversation and then there is a commercial and then there is a next round after that or next segment after that. So what happened was after I intro the commercial and then I said, okay, let's do this commercial. And then when I hit play that commercial video, after that, I found myself in the room. I was like, where's the guest? So apparently the guest left interview for I don't know what's the reason. I think the interview was really going well, but maybe if that person is busy or something, but I was just too stunned to speak at that time. So what I did was I just went on with the outro and all of those things. So yeah, it was like a shocking experience actually on my part rather than embarrassing because no one saw it, but it was embarrassing on my part since like what happened. I was questioning myself. But yeah, that is my
So-
experience.
So you got left by someone that you're talking to.
Oh.
You got
Apparently,
ghosted.
yeah.
I can relate to that like too many times. Like right now. Nah, I'm kidding. I love my girlfriend. Shout out
It's
to
going personal.
Ellie.
Oh my
Don't worry.
gosh. That
Shout out
was
to
so
Ellie for not
seamless.
ghosting me.
Smooth transition. Smooth transition. So seamless too. Transition
Yes.
to our girlfriend topic.
I'm sorry, but yeah,
Very-
shout out to
very-
my
very
girlfriend
nice.
right there. You didn't ghost me, so that's why you made me your bare minimum to pass me, but more that later.
Oh.
Well, I didn't. That being said, I didn't have much of a funny, as funny as you guys, but before my on the previous kind of podcast that I was doing, it's involved in investment. So I wasn't really promoting like any gambling or stuff like that. It's just investment. And a lot of times, I always say on the side, like, do not invest your money. Invest your money at your own risk. It's your decision. But one of my guests and my podcast happened to be a really bad investment. And right afterwards, I had like hundreds of messages, like death threats. Like several of those are death threats. It's like I was eating those for an entire day, like lots of death threats until like, oh, he wants to kill my family. Oh, I want to kill my
Oh my
kid.
gosh.
Jokes on you, I don't have a kid
That
yet.
is not a fun experience.
It is not. I mean, at first it is scary, but then again, okay, what's the worst someone can do over the internet? I mean, that's also one of the reasons why I tend to stay anonymous back then. I mean, nothing is illegal, but I just do it for the sake of the protection as well of myself
If-
and my family.
I don't mind asking, was there any stalking that happened or just totally death threats?
not really any stalking because they don't have anything on me. I use a VPN too, just to be safe from
Okay.
anyone, but it's part of it. I mean, those
Good
are just
call.
words. They can't really hurt you. But yeah, not the fun, but at the end of the day, it was getting funny. Like, oh, you're so bad. Like, why you do that? You're a scammer, you thief, and like that. Okay. It's
Ooh.
but yeah, that's the thing. I'm sorry, it's a bit darker as it
Oh,
always
it
do, but
is.
that
It
was
just
my
went
life.
a little
Yeah,
darker.
sorry you had to
Yeah.
go through that. Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
fun experience. Now it's like rainbows and butterflies hosting podcasts here at Sphere
Kidding me?
Rocket.
That's so fun.
What's your concept of
It's
fun?
okay. I'm a
I'm
bit
just kidding.
macabre, I would say.
Okay.
But pretty much
Kidding.
it's a
Okay.
growing experience. It made me a bit more tougher, and having this transition to Sphere Rocket, talking about the fun experiences of our VAs, it's a really good
Mhm.
transition to it. So pretty much, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that is the end of our
Yeah.
icebreaker, and I think a lot of us are now excited to talk about
Exactly,
the main
exactly.
topic that we
Yeah,
have.
yeah, it's
So I guess Julia, take it
yeah,
away.
I totally agree to that, with our different varieties of experiences. I could really tell, with experience, as people really say, right, that experience is the best teacher, one of the best teacher actually. So we've got a lot of experiences earlier, right? Like podcast hosting experiences. And with that being said, I totally understand it because the way we were raised, the way we have our own culture differently, that is totally understandable, right? How we react to it actually depends on our culture. And with that being said, moving towards cultural barriers as our topic, right? So I know there are like a variety different cultures in the virtual assistant industry, in the VA industry. There are a lot. And a lot like communication styles, like there are different kinds of people, different races, even races, right? So when we talk about VA industry in the Philippines, there are like Cebuano VAs, there are like Ilocano VAs, there are like Tagalog VAs, there are like Bisaya, there are a variety of communication styles or dialects or languages of VAs. And even work ethics, right? We have got a lot of different routine that we do every single time. And it could also lead either a pro nor con, right? So it could lead towards misunderstandings or inefficiencies towards work, or it could also become an advantage. So, yeah, but not saying that it is an advantage, but like it depends on the situation. Like, for instance, I'm Baholana, so I'm Bisaya. And then being the only Bisaya in the podcast department, right? To be specific, going really deeper. In the VA industry, there are a lot of Bisaya, or there are a lot of Cebuanos, Boholanos that are working as well. But in my personal experience, it actually is weighing both, right? Pros and cons, because one of which would be communication barrier, right? There are times wherein, oh no, I can't find, but it's a good thing. It's actually a good thing since we're all speaking in English and all of that. So actually also a good thing. But like sometimes I feel, oh no, I wish I was with somebody who can speak the same dialect as mine because they would get the certain context that I'm trying to talk about. But like, yeah, I actually felt that when I met a few of Visaya people in Sphere Rocket, like Ma'am Norlene, Miss Norlene is also a Visaya from here in Dumaguete. So like that's really great. It was kind of a relief for me because the kind of humor that she has, I totally get, or the context that she has, but she also brings that, spreads those kind of joy in the whole company. So I really love that about, like, not to be biased, but like I really love that about Bisaya people. They get to be like that. And also with the Tagalogs, like you guys are really professional with what you do. But I'm not saying we're not professional, but like, right? That's the kind of things that you see, compare and contrast or weigh when you're working, especially with your coworkers. You also get to look at their background, what kind of native background they have. So it kind of matters in a way. But we're all one. We're all from the Philippines. So it's also a great thing. We get to share, exchange different cultures all at the same time. And so yeah, with that being said, what do you think
We're
are
a
like
family.
yeah, we
Last
are a
episode,
family.
a
Going
good
back
kind
to
of
episode
family.
1. Yes, we are a good kind of family going back to episode 1. But like, yeah, talking about cultural misunderstandings, what do you think are like some examples that we have about cultural misunderstandings, Kidwin?
I think there's a lot of them, especially, you've mentioned is it's local, pretty much. We're in the same
Right.
country. I've had experience like when I was living in Europe, specifically in Germany, people there, how they talk, how they look at you, it's all so different. Like in the Philippines, people would smile at you like a total stranger. You'll just walk past them, or like it could be a neighbor or it could be just someone random. They would smile at you like, hey, or just like raise eyebrows like that. But that is not present in the European culture that I was involved in. They're gonna look at you like so serious, like you don't. It's not friendly at all, and the way they talk, you would think that they're angry. Like I had one experience where I was just walking the road. I thought two people were like having a real argument, but they were just actually talking about how's your day. That's kind of cultural difference in terms of communication. Like
The
you don't
tonality,
understand.
right?
Yeah, the tonality it definitely plays a lot. And also in my experience with American, based on episodes, and back then, even before Sphere Rocket, I was involved with them. Their way of communication would sound aggressive. They're just really vocal about things. They say aloud what they think. Unlike us Filipinos, we think so much before we speak because we don't want to disrespect the other person. That's always in our mind. Like, okay, maybe that's gonna offend the other person. But, Americans or, Westerners in general, from my understanding, they just speak out their mind. Like they don't really think much about the other person, but not in a disrespectful way. It's just their culture. So that's something that I guess, especially if it's your first time being in contact or just talking to someone that's outside the Philippines, especially in America or in Europe, knowing that, they're not angry at you. They're not really aggressive. It's just
Yeah.
their way of communication. But, that being said, a lot of barriers comes into play and you need to get used to that somehow. So, Sweet, maybe you could provide us with some strategies on getting used to that kind of cultural barriers.
Yeah, I agree with the both of you with, of course, cultural barriers. There are a lot of differences that we encounter. Like actually in any one that we are encountering, we don't know like whether they're Filipino or um Americans or Europeans. I think we are a all diverse human beings. So we are encountering a lot of differences, and especially one of the biggest things is really cultural differences. Of course, it really depends on how we were raised, the cultures that we were grew up in. So in the VA industry as well, especially in client VA relationship, we are of course aware that there is a cultural differences with that, because of course clients are dealing with Filipino employees, and of course with that it comes with a lot of challenges like the ones you have mentioned. So there are also, with any challenges, there's a solution to that, right? So as part of the project, of course, of Sphere Rocket as well, one of those in addressing these challenges is one is cultural awareness training. So as we said in the episode one, we also train the clients on how to handle the VAs in order for us to have effective communication, of course. So that's number two, having effective communication, being just open. And this is for the VAs. I actually interviewed some international people or some of our clients that it's just really actually treating them as humans as well, like in both ways. Like they're not treating them like as they're just humans. Like if there's a problem, you can just open it up clearly. So that's one of the solutions on how you can break through the challenge in cultural barriers. Of course, sometimes us Filipinos are really respectful when it comes to our bosses, to the people who are like have higher positions than us. But sometimes that respect are borderline like shyness. You think that you will be disrespectful if you open up something or you are clear about something or having clear boundaries, but it's actually they're really open for feedbacks. So that's one thing that we can bear in mind when it comes to addressing cultural barriers.
Yes, Adisi, I totally agree to that. There are a lot of things that we need to consider. And yeah, I think that totally wraps up the topic of cultural barriers. And with that being said, you guys, I hope you guys, for those who are watching right now, I hope you guys are holding on to your seats. Comment down below your thoughts if you have any experiences similar, anything you can relate with, the ones that we've mentioned earlier, because the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network presents Cosmic Couch. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
Ready for change in your business? Check out Sphere Rocket VA and get your own virtual assistant. Head over to www.sphererocketva.com and sign up for our free 45-day trial. Don't miss out on this opportunity to take your workflow to the next level.
All right, welcome back, you guys, to Cosmic Couch. Yes. Okay, just a little recap for those who just arrived on our podcast, who just started listening. Earlier we talked about cultural barriers, and today we are going deeper towards correlating to cultural barriers, right? Philippines, it's very common in Philippines where there is a lot of scammers, hackers, all of that. Security is quite the issue right now. Like, how would we know which is real, which is not? So it's kind of a very controversial thing as well, leaning towards that. But, we're going to go deeper towards that. When it comes to protection of client information, there are a lot of things that are going on. There is even a fake account of Sphere Rocket going around, circulating all over the internet. And then we just want to clear that out. You guys need to really protect your personal information, all of that. Because disclaimer, Sphere Rocket does not ask any percentage of your amount, your personal account, and all of that stuff. That is not even the process of how it is. So if you smell something fishy, you gotta find the real legit account or page, reach out and raise that concern, right? It's very important. So with that being said, there are a lot of things that are going on, especially hacking, right? So, okay, Dwayne, would you mind sharing a lot of challenges when it comes to security? Although I've mentioned it a few earlier.
Yeah, but before I get to mine, actually correlating to what you mentioned earlier, it's about client trust and reputation. I think that's one of the issues why a lot of people internationally are not considering VAs, because a lot of trust goes into hiring someone new as part of your team, especially if it's someone that you can see eye to eye. I was talking to this one client not too long ago. He has a VA. I mean, the VA was performing really nicely, but then he found out that this VA was using an auto clicker to kind of break, just to make sure that people would think he's working, but he's actually not. And the thing is, he's providing results. Yeah, that's a given. But it's the fact that he's trying to cheat his way out of making someone think that he's working when he's actually not. Well, initially he could have verbally said to the boss hey, I finished my task, and that's pretty much it. And I guess also one thing is clients, I guess they're also flexible. If you can ask them if you're doing quite good in your job, you can also ask them, hello, I think I'm not that comfortable with having a monitor to my screen or my computer. I'm gonna do my job. I mean, you're free to be verbal about that with your client. Feel free to do so, but don't do it on day one, obviously, because you need to first establish that kind of trust that you're able to provide results. I mean, it's case to case. It depends on the clients, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all clients will require you to have a screen monitor the entire day. So yeah, I guess it's just part of the development. And I guess one of the things that you need to make sure is don't break the client's trust, because once you did that, you're not going to go long, not just with that client, but in the VA industry, because trust is pretty much one of the most important things that we have in terms of being an employee for a client. And another thing about trust is, as we got hacking, as Julia mentioned before me. So part of trust is, especially if you're a VA, you're gonna have the the codes or the passwords, the usernames to really personal accounts or business accounts. So it's really important that you take good care of that. You don't just post it somewhere. I guess a lot of people are thinking that it's safe. I know a lot of my friends do this. It's they type in their password, their username, they write it on their own messenger. Could be in Facebook, could be, Instagram. They use it as a notepad, but what they don't know about that is a lot of people have access to that. They can easily hack you, like your message history. So what I do, actually, I also have my own kind of codes. I always write it in paper and I hide it on a random book or somewhere else, because no one can hack physical things unless they physically win your thing. So that's how I usually store my passwords, especially if it's like in regards to bank or any kinds of wallets. So it's old fashioned, but it definitely works well in the time and age where in the digital age to keep something physical, because especially if you're handling the accounts or the keys or the passwords of client, it's worth a lot. So make sure that you just don't post it anywhere, you just don't write it anywhere like digitally, to make sure that your client and yourself, or the business of your client, is going to be safe. So that being said, we have several other practices that we can implement to provide safety and security for ourselves, our personal information, and more importantly, our data on the internet. So yes, Sweet, maybe you have some suggestions or any advice on best practices for ensuring security or data security.
Yeah, Dwayne. I just want to add before I proceed to my piece. I just want to add with the trust that you have said. Of course, building trust with the client, since we're VAs are working offshore, right? So, I think integrity is one of the important values that a VA should really possess, because of course you are just working by yourself. There's no managers roaming around, there's no coworkers. The only thing that your client has when it comes to monitoring you, if they have a screenshot monitor, for example, or a time tracker, but that is case to case basis, because I've also encountered some clients before that doesn't really require a time tracking device or application, but they are more of like output based clients. So it really depends. So it's case to case basis, as I've said. So yeah. And also with the one Julia said, for example, in Sphere Rocket, there are a lot of scammers out there who are using the name of Sphere Rocket to exploit money. Is that the right term? To get money from applicants, especially with like training. So just to remind you, everyone, that Sphere Rocket is not accepting any monetary payments when it comes to like trainings. Our trainings are free, so make sure that you are really double checking the person that you're talking to, and double check if the account is really legit. So going to the client and the VA relationship when it comes to the data security, I have encountered also some of companies that I've worked with before, including Sphere Rocket as well. So they are one of the common practices that they do, that it's applying that multi-factor authentication when it comes to email. These are just like basic things that really matters. I think sometimes it's in the little things, so just really applying simple strong passwords. So I remember before we are given password from the company, I think that has like different, like I can barely remember it because it has numbers, it has capital letters, it has so
Special characters too, yeah.
special character asterisk, so I barely remember it. So just like Dwayne, that's what I'm also doing. I write it in paper just like that, and of course that's just mine. So yeah, and so those things that of course this is very technical when it comes to data security. So I think that is also one of the things that Sphere Rocket has to offer, is really teaching the clients on how to have secured data when it comes to working with VAs. And just like the both of you said, it's one of the most important things. It's because we are really dealing with a lot of scammers, hackers. So ensuring that you have the best data security and apply it before you share your credentials. And yeah, I think there are a lot of more practicals up there, but if you want to know more, of course, you might want to apply or get Sphere Rocket for you to, to learn more about data security. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree to that. Just to add, I really want to add something, just like celebrities, right? They have bashers. They've got
Mm.
hackers as well trying to hack their account and everything. So at the same time, if we look at the bright side, I think this is also a sign that Sphere Rocket is also booming. It's going all over the internet, and it's going trending, and it's becoming slowly becoming as famous as it has ever been before. So I think it's also something, I mean, looking at the bright side, it's also something good because we then got their attention, right? So it's kind of normal to have those kinds of people. It's normal to have bashers or hackers, but of course you need to really know how to control or like really give security towards to what you have, because we must really value this, must be very valuable because we got their attention, right? So it's kind of also that way. But, it's also in a way that we're teasing them that it's, I'm sorry, you guys. You guys can never get Sphere Rocket. But, like, yeah, I think that really does sums up. Thank you so much, FCC. I really do agree to that. That kind of sums up the topic of data security. And yeah, with that being said, we've got another commercial break. So I hope you guys stay tuned because Cosmic Couch will be right back.
Worried about missing out on family time because of work? Sphere Rocket VA can help. With a 45-day free trial, see for yourself how a virtual assistant can make a difference. Visit www.sphererocketva.com today and start making changes for you and your business.
All right, moving forward towards our topic, we've got a little deeper because today we are going to talk about fair wages. Indeed. So there's a lot of fuss going on when it comes to fair compensation for VAs, for virtual assistants, right? So if you're a VA and you have a concern about fair compensation, the salary, you are in the right place, brother or sister. Buckle up because we've got a lot of things to discuss right here. So, you know what? I totally really love the benefits that we have with Sphere Rocket, with the salary that we have. I really think that we get paid fairly. But of course, there are a lot of other companies that feel less valued than others, right? So, but there are a lot of factors to consider about that when it comes to fair compensation, when it comes to fair salary for VAs. And one factor maybe would be gender, right? Gender disparity. But there's like a real fine line between equality and inequality. I mean, equality and inequity. Because when we talk about equality, for instance, there are like these two people. Both of them get the same amount of salary or benefit or however reward that is. That's called equality. When you talk about equity, the other one that needs more or most is being given, right? So that's equity. And the other one is just, to what the standard is or like what the usual standard rate is. So there's kind of that. But when we go deeper, I think in regards to pay, it's not really equal. What do you think?
I think it's really unequal from what I've heard from a lot of people, actually. I've heard from a lot of friends that, lately, especially in the VA industry, girls are getting paid more than boys. Because he was just saying that, girls just need to act nice, just to look pretty, and then they'll get lots of money so easy. Because I guess a lot of clients could be just so visual in how just they look like, and girls are naturally just more attractive. That's what he said. And do you guys agree with that at some point?
Excuse me?
I think it's the men who are paid more. Actually, I think I beg to disagree. Because I don't think it's just really the charm. I think it's the men who are paid more because of course, one controversial topic that we have is with let's face it, patriarchy. I think a lot of people are, a lot of companies are still within that kind of mindset.
I mean, historically speaking, that was the issue from my back, like way back before we had like a lot more buildings, or in the modern times, like men are the one that goes to work and women are the one that stays at home. But now, due to the cultural advancements and civilization, it's a lot more equal. We are at perhaps the most equal or equitized society or working society where men and women are actually getting paid equal, if not nearly equal, is what I would like to say. But I guess the gender doesn't really play a huge role in terms of how much you're going to be paid. It's about how you sell yourself. That's how I see it. Maybe you're just not selling yourself. Someone might get paid more than you by doing the same kind of task, but maybe he or she was just able to sell himself or herself better during the interview phase. So that's my thought on that. And yeah, how about you guys or girls?
I totally agree.
No gender changes.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah,
how
I
are you
think-
people?
I think that is where the inequity concept that is Julia was talking about earlier. And I think I agree with that. It's not only with how you sell yourself, but also sometimes there's also discrimination when it comes to the industry that you are in. Like, for example, let's say teachers. Let's not go with VA first. So for example, teachers, they are very underpaid. So there's also that kind of discrimination when it comes to the kind of industry that you have. Same goes with the VA industry. Sometimes, of course, with VA there are a lot of facets in that. So there are video editors, of course, admins, executive assistants. So it depends also with the kind of role that you have. But yeah, I agree with Dwayne. It really depends on how you sell yourself, plus the skill set that you have. So it's really important, especially of course with the VA, to always upskill and knowing the value of the skills that you have and also experiences.
Yeah, I totally agree to that. One perfect example would be our one and only on-site CEO, Miss Shireen Mendoza. She is a lady boss. Gender does not define success, right? She's been working hard for what she's achieved right now, and she totally deserves it because she's worked triple, quadruple, 10 times harder than the rest of the people. And look at her now. She is now an on-site CEO, and that's how you break the barriers. That's how you break those gender inequality,
Gender
iniquity,
biases,
the
yeah, those
gender
sort of
biases,
stuff.
right? Exactly.
So it's good to have that, right now in the modern times where everyone is a lot more equal. I mean, sure, in some industries, there's still, as we mentioned, in the patriarch-ish kind of mindset that's, it's not good for a lot of people, may be normal for some other people, but I guess in more Western-ish culture, it's more equal now because more people has more rights in terms of having equal pay. So that being said, one of the things that we just need to we go around and around is it just on how you're going to be selling yourself. So if you think that someone else needs to be paid more, you need to be paid more than someone else because you're working more than hard, then maybe try to market yourself better when you have a talk with your boss for a promotion or when you're heading off to a different company. So that is one skill that you really need to develop, especially for a lot of people in the Philippines. They're quite shy and asking for a raise. They're always waiting for the boss or their manager to take that initiative. They're waiting for them to give them a promotion, but you can actually demand a promotion, which you should actually do. If you think that you're been working for the same job for like 2 years and you're doing it a lot better, then of course you have the right to demand a higher pay. And that's also something that's really good, having the VA industry right now. I mean, sadly, in the Philippines or a lot of other third world or not so rich countries, a lot of people would tend to go to other countries, like richer countries. They would say like America, Europe, even Japan, because they have a higher pay there. But due to the opening of the doors of in the VA industry, we're able to earn, pretty much nearly, if not more, as what they would earn at the comforts of our home. We're earning not just, in our local currencies, we're earning dollars for other people, other VAs, maybe euros. And I think that's the amazing part of having VA. It kind of bridge that pay disparity, not just between genders, but between nations. Like if you would see how much pay VAs are getting on a regular basis working at home, it's quite a lot compared to seeing someone work at a local cashier store here. I mean, not to degrade them, they're working good, but of course, if you're just going to compare it to working internationally for a boss earning dollars or other currencies, it's a huge difference. So yeah, it's a blessing for all of us to have this kind of work.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people are really wanting to be a virtual assistant. And to add to that, it's also one of the traits that would really help VAs to, address this challenge is to be a good researcher and be analytic. Just research about the common salaries that the other companies are giving the kind of position that you're looking for. I think that would be also helpful for all the VAs out there, and also in the client side to know the fair wage that they can give their VAs is also to research what are the current market status, or what are the current pay, or hourly pay or monthly pay, depends on your preferences. So it goes both sides. So research is also one of the great factor that we can apply and do in order for us to achieve this or address this common challenge that we have in the industry.
So yeah, you need to know your own worth before, don't just go around guessing your numbers like, oh, maybe I'm worth like this. Like, you need to know your own worth and your own value to know how valuable you are. So I guess that's in conclusion for me. And Julia, maybe you have any more outputs in regard to this?
Yeah, I totally agree to that. You can't just go around telling how you think you're worth without experiencing it, without really internalizing everything, digesting everything, embracing what your work environment is, how everything goes. You must need also the experience. You must need to really, dig deeper with what you do, and the more you do, the more you'll know about it. And that's when you'll have the right mind to say, oh, now I know my true worth. Now I know how I am that valuable towards other people, towards my coworkers. And yeah, I totally agree to that. There are understanding cultural differences, keeping data safe, and getting fair pay are really very important for virtual assistants.
And I think that's a wrap for this episode. We really have a great conversation today, guys. So I also learned a lot from the both of you. And so for our listeners, don't forget to leave a comment with your favorite golden nugget that all of us have shared today. So and don't forget to hit that like or follow button so you will never miss an episode.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Join us next time as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of virtual assistants. Until then, take care.
Bye.